I can't help but just immediately want to recommend this story and the entire collection.
Yes. There are sentences and passages in this short story that stopped me dead in my tracks.
Yeah.
Gosh, like goosebumps.
Totally.
Ted Chiang, how dare you? Do you think you are somebody who has strong purpose and meaning in your life?
Welcome to Science Fiction Book Club, a podcast for bookworms and stargazers. In every episode, we dive into the pages of our favorite science fiction novels to break down the big ideas, ask the nerdy questions, and maybe learn a bit about ourselves along the way. I'm Opsa, and as always, I'm joined by the incontrovertibly of divine origin of Ooh.
I just refilled my lungs. I'm ready to
That's
gab.
Right.
I can't wait to talk about this short story.
Yeah, this is a fun one.
This is a fun one.
Yeah.
Before we dive in, let's take care of some quick housekeeping for our listeners. As you all may know, we are working our way through every single short story in Exhalation by Ted Chiang,
That's right.
the short story collection. Today, we're covering short story number 2, the titular Exhalation.
That's right.
So make sure you have read that short story before you continue listening today.
And as always, we encourage you to read along, share your thoughts, and email us at sci-fi-bookclubpod@loreparty.com. You can also join our Patreon at patreon.com/sci-fi-bookclubpod. We post free reading guides, discussion questions, as well as all the bonus clips and bloopers you could hope for on that Patreon. You can also find our Discord there, where we like to keep these nerdy sci-fi discussions going with fellow readers in the community.
That's right, folks. And all of those links are in the show notes below, so check them out after you're done listening today. All right, Opsa. Same game plan as always with these book club episodes. We will begin by summarizing the short story assigned for today's reading. Then we'll share our impressions of the story. And finally, we'll wrap up by diving deep in our sci-fi analysis.
That's right.
All right, folks. Don't go anywhere. Let's take a quick break. Take a big old breath of air. We'll be back in a minute. Hold it. Hold it. Exhale. Welcome back, everyone. Let's dive in to our summary of Exhalation, the short story by Ted Chiang. So this story is narrated by an unnamed mechanical being who lives in a world populated entirely by robots powered by compressed air. The narrator hears rumors that the mechanical clocks in this universe are seemingly running slower than their internal chronometers. The other robots are kind of hand-waving this one away as just a minor discrepancy.
It's a coincidence.
Hearsay, coincidence,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. But the narrator has a darker theory about what this may mean, and so sets out to test this theory in a radical experiment.
Oh, yeah, you could call it that.
Radical seems like not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough word to encompass what this experiment is. Through a complicated set of mirrors and precise surgical tools, the narrator disassembles their own brain in order to understand how the mechanics of the robotic brains work in this universe.
Just insane.
What a visceral scene, too.
Yeah.
I could picture this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, lots of really descriptive prose in this short story.
Yeah.
They end up discovering, the narrator that is, that memory and consciousness itself is actually simply the movement of air through intricate gold leaves.
Wow.
As that air moves from high pressure to low pressure within their bodies, it forms the patterns of their cognition.
Wow. Okay.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
This ends up leading the narrator to a shocking existential realization that the clock discrepancy actually indicates their world's atmosphere is gradually equalizing in pressure.
Uh-oh.
Put simply, their world is slowly dying, and eventually, when pressure equalizes completely, all thought and movement will cease.
Horrifying.
As this news spreads and is validated by other scientists, panic grips the robots. Many try, as we would, of course, to slow or reverse the pressure equalization, but the truth is undeniable. Their world is coming to an end.
That's right. Now, at the end of this short story, we realize that all the words we've been reading are actually the narrator's account of their own discovery written down for hypothetical future archaeologists who
Mm.
might discover this universe long after it has perished.
Right.
And the narrator's final plea I want to read in full because this floored me and I loved this so much. It's beautiful, it's hopeful, despite the existential crisis that the narrator and every being in this universe faces. Quote, "Though I am long dead as you read this, explorer, I offer to you a valediction. Contemplate the marvel that is existence and rejoice that you are able to do so. I feel I have the right to tell you this, because as I am inscribing these words, I am doing the same."
Mm.
End quote. Gosh, like goosebumps.
Totally.
Ted Chiang, how dare you?
He's done it again.
He's done it again. How
Oh, yeah.
dare you?
He's cracked this writing thing, I think. I think
onto something.
He's onto something here.
All right, that's
Yeah.
the summary. Opsa, let's talk about our impressions of this story. What did you think?
Yeah, this was, I think, one of my favorite stories in the collection.
Yeah.
Having gone through it. The analogy that can be drawn between, I think, our own real world and the world of this universe is that of entropy.
Yes.
We know that everything eventually will kind of reach its entropic end, in a sense. And I think the way that Ted Chiang is able to tell that story of our own reality in that of this fictional one is just really compelling. It's really entertaining, it's interesting, and you can't help but feel something, and and it's particularly interesting because despite not being biological forms, we can just so easily relate to these beings.
Yeah.
The anxiety they face, the choices they make. There are, of course, the reversalists that we encounter in this story who are, hell-bent on figuring out some way to prevent the air pressurization problem. And and the truth is that all of that is familiar. I mean, we know this. Like the quest to avoid death and the end of life is something that we can't help but strive for. So I found this to be such a really valuable and just really fun story, honestly.
Agreed. This for me, easily top 3 story in this collection.
Yeah.
I also want, this is bold, but I also want to say maybe top 10 best piece of science fiction writing I've ever read in my life.
Yeah. I mean, it's a plausible claim.
I love this short story. I love it so much.
Yeah.
I am blown away by Ted Chiang's wild imagination.
Yes.
And the elegant prose. We talked about it in the last episode, but the way he's able to make his prose so poetic, that final quote that we all just read, beautiful.
Totally.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Get that tattooed on my ass. I don't know. Like, as a reminder to, not me, I can't read it, but,
Yeah, whatever you're flashing, though, it'll be great for people to see.
Exactly.
What does that say? So poetic.
It's so poetic. I mean, I'm getting mooned, but the wisdom I've gained.
The perspective,
I love it. I am just blown away by what Ted Chiang is doing here. And I mean that quite literally. Like, this is a story about air, so like there's a bit of a blown away pun happening here unintentionally, but there are sentences and passages in this short story that made me hold my breath. And that stopped me dead in my tracks when I encountered them. I wanted to share one of them, for example. Take this passage. Quote, "Our every utterance will reduce the amount of air left for thought and bring us closer to the moment when our thoughts cease altogether. Will it be preferable to remain mute to prolong our ability to think, or talk until the very end? I don't know." End quote. I don't know either.
I don't know either. Yeah, that's oh man, I'm grappling with that again right now. It's making my palms sweaty here.
Like, for real.
Yeah.
Like, goosebumps reading that. And I feel like this short story kept hitting me with stuff like that. Over and over and over again. And again, it's so short. It's like, I don't even know how many pages it is. Depends on which copy of the book you have. But this is not like some like dense sci-fi slog that you have to get through to
Yeah.
like extract the meaning out of. The way Ted Chiang is able to just hit you with this stuff right away.
Yeah.
In a universe that isn't human,
Totally.
in a universe that he has conjured up
Yeah.
in his mind. And again, we mentioned this last episode. I'm sure we'll bring this up constantly as we talk about these short stories, but I admire so much that Ted Chiang is able to avoid the temptation to turn these stories into this like Black Mirror-esque like horror story.
Right.
What if thing goes bad and everything is awful?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Like immediate dystopia. Like
immediate
no,
dystopia.
totally.
Everything is awful.
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah.
it the worst thing you've
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
read?
Like you're psychologically disturbed for 2 weeks, you know? It's
Yeah,
like, no.
exactly.
Yeah.
All of the short stories
Yeah.
genuinely deal with topics that are dark and
Yes,
heavy
totally.
and end up being hopeful
Yeah.
and beautiful
Yeah.
with messages that we should all be taking to heart.
Right.
This story, I think, is one of the most powerful
I would
examples.
agree.
And it just avoids that temptation that a lot of sci-fi that you and I love, to be clear,
Yeah.
but a lot of sci-fi can't help but be grimdark.
Yeah.
And this is not grimdark.
Yeah. And it does that without also being superficial or like overly light. I mean, it's really grappling with the depth and the kind of the themes that resonate in human life and that are so pervasive in our kind of confrontation with our own existence. And I can't help but just immediately want to recommend this story and the entire collection.
Yes.
You know, even prior to, let's say, having finished it, but you just want to have this in other people's hands immediately.
Of course. I agree. All right. Well, there's the summary of Exhalation and our thoughts on it. Folks, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short break. We're going to refill our lungs because we're doing a lot of talking here.
That's
Honestly,
right.
I'm a little out of breath.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere, dear listener. When we come back, we're diving into our sci-fi analysis, and we're going to talk a little bit about the big themes and ideas that are at the heart of this short story. We'll see you in a minute.
Welcome back, listeners. Let's jump into our sci-fi analysis. Let's do a bit of a deep dive with the one and only Abu.
Let's do it. Okay, so here's my takeaway, Obsa. Follow me down this rabbit hole.
Let's do it.
The big idea that I want to explore today is the way in which the narrator finds meaning in mortality and chooses not to panic or despair like some of the other robots do. I think there's some powerful lessons to be learned here about life, death, art, purpose, the pursuit of knowledge, a lot of big ideas that are, I think, wrapped up in just how the narrator is able to find purpose and meaning. So to start, I actually want to zoom out and ponder for a second why humans seek meaning at all.
Because we certainly do.
Because we certainly do.
Yeah, that's right.
And to be clear, no other creatures on this planet have this desire to find connections and conjure up some sort of purpose and meaning for it all, to make sense of their existence in this way. Only humans do this. And so I did some research. I wanted to answer the question, why do we do this? One theory I came across is that this drive to find meaning stems from humans' unique ability to think about the future, to speculate about what might happen next.
All right.
I found a great quote in Psychology Today that explains this. Quote, "Our unique position as meaning-seeking creatures derives from the fact that we are the only animal that can plan for the distant future and not just for our present needs. For this, we need some long-term goal to motivate us to think about future consequences and not just live for the moment. As a species, we have now reached the point where our existence is fundamentally determined by these ideas. We are obsessed with thoughts of the future." End quote.
Yeah, facts. That is extraordinarily true. Yeah.
Do you find yourself obsessed with thoughts of the future?
I mean, as we said last episode, we'd probably go through the gate of years. So, yeah. I mean, as sci-fi fans, I think we're certainly familiar with this obsession. Sure.
And this totally makes sense to me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think, for example, a dog is planning for 6 weeks, 6 years, 60 years. They're not planning for retirement, right? They're not like, I need
seconds.
to, maybe 6 seconds.
Yeah.
But they're certainly not doing the type of forward thinking that humans are.
Right.
You know, they're not setting aside kibble for retirement so that they
Right.
can have it in old age or whatever, their kibble 401k. That's not happening. And
Right.
most creatures aren't doing that.
Right.
Humans are unique in their ability
Right.
to do that.
Right.
And so in order to make sense of a hypothetical future, we need to like mold a meaning around it, a meaning around our own lives, the past, present, and future.
Right.
And in my research, actually, Opsa, I came across a 1946 book titled Man's Search for Meaning,
Oh, yeah.
written by physician and author Viktor Frankl, who posited in that book that this desire for meaning can actually give humans an evolutionary and survival edge. Frankl's observations of fellow concentration camp survivors in World War II showed him that, quote, fellow prisoners who had a sense of purpose showed greater resilience to things like extreme suffering.
Right.
To the horrors that they all faced
Yeah.
in those concentration camps. So there is like a evolutionary and biological benefit
Right.
to seek meaning,
Yeah.
to try and build a purpose for your own existence. It can give you that edge in survival.
That totally makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense to me
Yeah.
too. You know, the more I did my research, the more I was like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like this is
tracks.
all,
Yeah.
this tracks.
Yeah.
And, you know, in fact, modern research really supports these ideas as well. I found a study from 2021, I believe, that basically concluded that having a sense of purpose, having a stronger sense of purpose, correlates with mental and physical health, longevity, and resilience to adversity. For folks who did not have a strong central sense of purpose, those things were more overwhelming to tackle in their lives.
Yeah.
So there does seem to be sort of a survival, biological, evolutionary-based reason why humans developed this need.
Right.
So I want to bring this full circle. Let's bring it back to our narrator and back to this short story by Ted Chiang. I so admire that the pursuit of knowledge and scientific discovery seems to be at the center of the narrator's life, seems to be the narrator's purpose. And actually, once the narrator makes this existential discovery that their world is ending, documenting their research helps them process their mortality and create meaning in their life.
Right.
It is the thing that helps the narrator face this adversity.
Right.
Consider, for example, this passage about why they're writing to a hypothetical future explorer. Quote, through the act of reading my words, the patterns that form your thoughts become an imitation of the patterns that once formed mine. And in that way, I live again through you. End quote. Ted Chiang, how fucking dare
this
you?
to me.
How dare you?
Oh, yeah.
Another passage that stopped me dead in my tracks.
Totally. Yeah.
Again, there's a meta layer there as well, because like books, reading, sharing knowledge, sharing stories, as we talked about in our takeaway last episode, all of those are a way for people who are gone to live again through those stories.
Yeah.
Beautiful. There's so many layers to this like 2-sentence passage I just read. And ultimately, I just love that the narrator is able to use meaning and purpose to face what is, for many of us, the ultimate terror, death.
Yeah.
And rather than falling into despair, the narrator is able to channel this awareness of mortality, this awareness of the end of it all, into something more transcendent. The pursuit and sharing of knowledge that might outlast their civilization. That becomes more meaningful than the oncoming death.
Right.
And I think there's a powerful lesson there, you know? Like I want to wrap up on what I think is the message at the heart of this story and a reminder that I think we all need from time to time. This story reminds us that meaning can be found not despite mortality, but because of it. We all live finite existences, and rather than allowing that knowledge to totally immobilize us, it should inspire us to find meaning in our lives. Whether it's the pursuit of knowledge, like the narrator, or maybe it's creating something that outlives you, the narrator again, documenting their research. Right. Maybe it's pursuing excellence in your skills, like performing brain surgery on yourself, like the narrator. Everything we do has greater value and greater significance because our time is limited.
Yeah.
And recognizing the beauty and hope in that is the first step, I think, toward living a more authentic and meaningful life.
Boom. Preach. Yeah. Ah, that is such a honestly lovely takeaway. I think, to put it, even kind of more briefly, what would narrator do? WWND. But it's very true. I mean, we are all facing mortality, and the way that you kind of, I think, read this story kind of sheds light on how that can be something that is hopeful, that can drive purpose, that can drive meaning, and that can help kind of elevate what could otherwise be a terrifying outcome or end into something that can be transcendent. I mean, I really love how you put that.
Do you think you are somebody who has strong purpose and meaning in your life? Or is that something you're still searching for? Which I think, to be clear, is okay, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're all somewhere in the ether of figuring it out.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I definitely fall into the camp that, we create meaning and purpose in our lives. It doesn't exist out there for us to sort of stumble upon, but that, our every act is purpose making, it's meaning making.
Yeah.
Now, whether I feel like I have kind of concluded that journey, I think definitely not. I think it's,
fair.
you like continue to do that, as you grow and evolve and gain new perspective and record more episodes.
That's right.
And read more of Exhalation. But I do think that is, it's absolutely true. That is like something well worth reflecting on, like how much do you feel like you are kind of living out living out your meaning and purpose in a way that feels personally authentic and that kind of connects with your day-to-day actions. It's very easy, I think, to kind of go into like autopilot where you're just kind of, just kind of moving through the motions, and you are pretty disconnected from whatever meaning or purpose you have found. And that's something that I'm certainly guilty of. I mean, I can't speak for everyone,
I think we all are. Yeah.
But no, I think it's a profound question. How do you feel? How does it come for you?
I'm right there with you. You know, I'm still on that journey.
Totally.
I don't think I've certainly found what I feel like is my purpose in life.
Yeah.
But I have found meaning in many things in my life.
Yeah.
Which I think add so much color and texture and life to my life.
Yeah.
Like spending time and caring for my loved ones, making this podcast, reading stories that make me cry. Like all of those things have such deep meaning for me in my life. And those are the things that shape my life, that give me purpose. And ultimately, like the narrator, help me grapple with the inevitable, grapple with death, oblivion, that all of this will end someday. But right now, it all has so much meaning. And if I can, in particular, create something, write something down that outlasts me, that I think will also give me purpose in life. I think that is certainly something I'm personally pursuing. I'm somebody who really needs a creative outlet at all times. I get a little antsy if I don't have that. And I always want to be like making something. And I think a lot of that does come from my desire to like find my purpose, create meaning, and leave something behind that outlives me. And so I think I'm still on that journey, but I think, I'm getting there.
A little bit closer.
A little bit closer. I'm maybe not as lost as I was in my 20s.
That's the dark years.
The dark years, right. The meaningless years, some might say.
Totally.
Yeah,
I know. I will say, personally, I won't be satisfied until I've completed brain surgery on myself and observed it.
Yes. I'm still setting up my mirrors and my contraptions, but I'll get there.
We all just fall so short of the narrator.
Truly, I aspire to be just like the narrator, ultimately. What a beautiful story. My goodness. This is one that from the first time I read it to now, I think this is maybe the fourth or fifth time I'm reading it in my life. gets me every time.
Totally.
I texted you
Yeah.
after I finished it, like late at night. I was like, oops, the story fucking got me again. I'm crying.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it so much. And really hats off to Ted Chiang for
Totally.
creating what I think might be one of the most beautiful pieces of science fiction writing ever.
It's no surprise that this ended up becoming the name of the collection.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the title of the collection. All right, folks, that wraps it up for today's episode and today's short story. We have homework for you. As always, we are working our way through the short story collection. So next up is the short story, What's Expected of Us. That's your homework. Make sure you read that one before next week's episode.
That's right.
And if you're wondering, hey, what do I have to read next? What hold should I put in at the library? What books are we reading? All of that is answered. Check out the link below where we have our entire season 3 laid out for you so that you can keep up with the reading assignments and enjoy these wonderful science fiction books with us.
That's right.
Well, friends, the pressure equalization of our universe is inevitable. So before time runs out, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. 5 stars only.
5 stars only.
Please. And be sure to check out the other shows on the Lore Party Podcast Network on loreparty.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at lore_party. Of course, we're also on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, this podcast might have slid into equilibrium, emitting nothing more than a quiet hiss. But the fact that it spawned such an episode is a miracle.